Opinions expressed on Lifeguards Off Duty are those of its hosts and guests exclusively. They do not represent any entity, organization, or municipality.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Michael Kachmar.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Sean.
And this is Lifeguards Off Duty with Dr. Michael Kachmar, the Jersey Shore #1 lifeguard-themed video podcast.
Watch us on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook Live. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever streaming service you prefer.
If you would like to contact us, send an email to drkachmar@icloud.com. Follow us on Instagram at lg.association.
All right, let's get started.
Let's start the show.
Let's do it.
She said they're gonna lock you up for killing me tonight.
And we're live.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Michael Kachmar. This is Lifeguards Off Duty. Thank you for coming in today.
With who?
Or with us? With who? With nobody. Today's date is February the 7th, year of our Lord, 2023. We have a special guest today who we're going to introduce in a minute, but I just want to say hello to the guys. We have Tyler.
How's everyone doing?
And we have Sean.
Hello, guys.
Sean likes the camera close and tight. He's our model. He's our model. He gets the girls watching the show. Anyway, we have a guest today, and we have him on the whiteboard here. And I'm gonna hand the show over to Tyler. He's gonna introduce our guest. And all right, Tyler, take it away.
Yeah. So, John, you found us on Instagram, I guess, right? And
yes.
we've been chatting over. Whoa, what's up with my? Are you turning my volume down?
Yeah, just go ahead.
You're good.
Sorry.
We've been chatting, over text for the past week or so, getting to know each other. And you are, correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, you are the captain of West Palm Beach Ocean Rescue? Just regular Palm Beach, okay. And the chief EMS of West Palm Beach Fire Department. Yes.
So I'm currently on the Ocean Rescue Captain for Palm Beach County Ocean Rescue and retired Division Chief from the City of West Palm Beach Fire Department. So I was doing both as a fireman and as an ocean lifeguard since the late 90s.
Gotcha. There were a couple of things you said that you wanted to touch on today. One of them being getting just more recognition for what lifeguards do, as well as firefighters. But before that, I want to ask you a little bit just about how you got into it. What led you to be an ocean rescue lifeguard?
We lost him again.
Oh,
He's got a bad connection over there, I think.
John,
there you are.
Oh, there you are. So like
You
I was
got me?
saying,
Yeah, we got you.
Did you hear the question?
we'll re-ask. It's fine. So,
Can you
I
hear
was
us, John? You might have to go inside, closer to a...
experiencing a couple technical difficulties right now. It's okay.
John, can you hear us?
We'll figure it out. There it goes.
Just you want to give him a call and tell him he's got to go inside. He's not getting a good web. It's too
okay.
much. He's going to keep dropping out.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Well, we can't be fine if we don't have him.
There he is.
Must have been a Chinese balloon flying over.
Oh.
Yeah. Sometimes, John, with the when we're doing this, it's a lot of Wi-Fi. I don't know if you need to get closer to the Wi-Fi center, but we'll see if it goes out again. So
Okay.
good.
We'll figure it out as we go along.
You were asking how I got into lifeguarding.
Yes.
So you guys did an Instagram post a couple weeks back talking about Eric Jersted.
Oh yeah.
Hitting up some of the legends. Well, I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, and Eric was also a senior guard, lieutenant at Fort Lauderdale, and Mark Boudreau, Harold, all those guys. We used to box after sitting on the tower all day, and guys would work their problems out that way and lift weights. And we were all competitive swimmers at the Swimming Hall of Fame, and that's where Lauderdale's headquarters is. And it was just just one of those things that we knew we were going to do. We were going to be competitive swimmers, go to college, and maybe join the Navy and be a frogman or be a lifeguard. And it worked out that way that I went and tried out for Hollywood. I was in college, and there was like 8 or 9 of us that were big competitive swimmers that were all Division I recruits, and we had an awesome national team for many, many years. And it was just a natural fit. So in '85, that's when I first started sitting the wood working for Hollywood.
Okay. And I want to ask you about Skip because
Were you a rookie when you met him, or did he join while you were already working there?
I was 8 years old.
Wow.
And this guy goes drinking with my dad. And they pull up, they're on their bikes, on their motors, and it was a match made in heaven for all those guys as well. So, yeah, I grew up with them as a young boy turning into a man.
Wow.
And growing that way.
Well, Skip, I'll jump in here. Skip worked on the beach with us. And my first year, which was in '77, was his last year was '76. So
Right.
he wasn't working when I worked, but he did come and visit quite often. And, of course, we could all tell stories about Skip, but he was a legend up here in Seaside Heights. Actually, we have one of our boats is named after him. So,
Awesome.
Yeah. So go ahead. So I just wanted to throw that out. Hey, before I forget, I know we're going to ask this, but did you work with Ricky Hatrack, another one of our lifeguards, or Steve Noose? They were both in Fort Lauderdale or Hollywood. I'm not so sure. They're probably more like around the 90s, maybe late 80s, early 90s. So, okay. I just thought I'd ask. So good.
Yeah, just I had to ask you about Skip because his legend is so rich here, and it just blew my mind when we started. And this is one of the things why we love doing this so much. And like you mentioned off air, this weird like Florida Jersey connection. So many Jersey guards end up down there, and
Yes.
he was one of them that left a huge mark on both cultures. And I was just always wondered. There's another gentleman that we are in contact with on Instagram. His name is Jim. Do you remember his last name, Sean?
We call him Lifeguard Jim. From
His Instagram handle is Lifeguard Jim. But
Jim McCready.
Jim McCready, yeah, and he said he knew Skip really well too, and he was his mentor, and it's just really cool to see that. And also, like, he took what the Boyds up here taught, our guys, and brought it down there, and helped, be a part of, like you said, some of those really serious teams that like were super, super competitive.
Let me ask you one more question, John. So back, I want to say the 90s. We used to go down there during the winter. I'm pretty sure it was Hollywood, and we used to compete. You'd have Asbury Park. I used to go with Lavalette. A couple of beaches. Were you around when we came down? Because do you remember that, or were you there?
Wildwood would come down.
Yeah.
A couple guys would come down. Ventnor.
Yeah.
We had a lot of those connections that, we would work the winter in Florida, and we would go back to Jersey. And I remember when I was a young rookie in Hollywood, and the headquarters Jeep stopped by and said, "Hey, you're going to run down to headquarters on your break, and you're going to learn how to row." I always wanted to learn how to row. Well, end up with the stud bowman, and we're the row out swimming champs, doing doubles, rowing singles, and basically forced into the surf boat because it was just all part of our culture, right?
I'll make a confession. We went down once, and there was 3 of us, and of course we were, entered under fat, drunk, and stupid. We just drank. Everybody was like serious about it, because not. So we swam out. We trained. In the beginning you swim and you warm up a little bit. We went out there and dove down, took the cinder block and moved it in about 10 yards, whatever we could, 5 yards. So then there was one race where, you had to be out there. I guess it was a relay, and you swim out to the buoy, the flag, and you're standing there. And we were like so far in, and then one guy goes, "What's going on?" I go, I said, maybe the boat must have dragged it in by accident. I think we tied for last place. So nobody really gave a shit. But, in lifeguarding, back in the day, if you could cheat, you cheated, so.
Well, the motto is, if you ain't cheating, you're trying, right?
What's that? What was the motto?
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Trying, yeah. But that was funny. I remember that. We had a great time. We had such fun down there. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out. So I got to get Tyler.
So another thing you mentioned that we only just figured out like today is you have some sort of connection with Jersey yourself. Do you want to explain that?
Yeah. So like I said before, the headquarters Jeep came down and said, "Hey, you're going to learn how to row, because in June you're going to go up to Ship Bottom and you're going to be a guard up there."
Wow.
oh, I got to talk to my parents about this. We didn't have cell phones back then. I get home, tell my parents, and call the captain of the beach patrol who worked for Hollywood. And, my parents were reassured, hey, we got a roommate for them. Jerry Faulkner, who's running Miami Beach, big
We
part
know,
in our
well,
United States
I'm
Life
going to
Saving
Miami in April.
Association, Southeast region.
We had him on.
And you're going to see Jerry.
Yeah,
Yep,
Jerry's
pretty sure
good
you're
friend with Joe Casino. Joe Casino. I mean,
So,
he swam up. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, big rower, big recruiter. And, I had a big brother, and I ended up having, the whole patrol, 30-something guys and a few girls as my big brothers and big sisters. So that connection was awesome. Definitely one of the best summers ever.
How
And,
does-
just that whole mid region in the summer.
How does that happen that your lifeguard captain tells you you're going to New Jersey? Does he know a guy? How does this?
He's the lifeguard captain up in Jersey.
And
I
Florida?
know somebody. Yeah, it was, you guys are going. This is what you're doing. Okay, that's what we're doing. Save your money. You got to have your rent for June, and then you pay a little more in July, and you pay a little more in August.
Yeah.
And it was right off the bat, competitions and making rescues and working very busy beaches. And it was a little different from Hollywood. We got fixed towers down there. Got Jeeps that cruise up and down the beaches. We have radios. And in Jersey, you got your Acme Thunder and the key for your phone box behind your tower if you need to call for fire rescue.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
things have changed a little bit since then, but
Yeah. Well, we're more sophisticated, but talking about Ship Bottom and LBI for years they had a what do you call it, exchange with Australia for a long time, and that was pretty interesting until they had the immigration stuff. There was some stuff, but they had a lot of But yeah, our beaches are certainly a lot more sophisticated, but still, I pine for those old days too. So.
So, obviously, like the seasons and when you get crowds are a little bit different than they are up in Jersey, which would allow you guys to send guards up to somewhere like Ship Bottom during the summer. What is it like? Do you guys deal with a lot of spring breakers?
Yes. So Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Miami Beach, way more than us up here in Palm Beach, but we are packed. We are packed from right after Thanksgiving up until May. And then we see the transition where it goes from the touristy crowd, and it's an international crowd as well. It goes from that to, oh, bye guys. Have a good workout. Thanks. Bye, honey. This is future lifeguard right here. Big swimmer. Cross
What a
players.
guy. What a guy.
So, we transition into the local crowd, and it can be super, super packed on the weekdays, super packed on the weekends. And, by packed, we're talking anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 people at one park. So, and then we also lifeguard our inlets. So we have rescue watercraft, jet skis with the sled on the back. We have the rigid hull inflatables at our inlets as well with a rescue operator and a rescue swimmer. And we have shoals that form up outside our inlets. So you're making a lot of sandbar rescues, vessels flipped over, or mechanical issues, etc. So, it's a wide variety of water rescues, and it's also a wide variety of EMS calls on the beach.
Now, when you're preparing your guards as a captain, as the leader of the beach, when you're preparing your guards for these spring break types of crowds, what are some things that you might prepare them for differently as opposed to a beach that doesn't really experience those surges in that season? For example, in Seaside Heights, a lot of what we do is crowd control and understanding how to interact with people who might be drunk or who might be, out of their heads. So how do you prepare, especially your younger guards, for that? And then this actually kind of turns into some of the things you wanted to bring up tonight.
So first and foremost, we want to address the behavioral issues. Like you said, learning how to talk with people, controlling your inner idiot and your emotional idiot as well when you're dealing with them.
I had to learn that the hard way.
We all do. We all do. But also looking at the emergency medical type of situations. We're going to see a lot of heat exhaustions. We could see alcohol-induced medical emergencies, not eating, consuming alcohol, maybe some drug ingestion, and then also the heat factor with the sun itself. People are in New York at college or PA, and it's 30 degrees out at night and rainy, and then all of a sudden they're in 80-degree weather with 75% humidity, and it's hardcore tropical sun beating down, and it's that quartz sand that everyone's laying on that's like an oven. And then let's throw in too the fact that they're partying all night, sleeping in late, poor diet, poor hygiene in some effects, because it's 10 people to a hotel room maybe, or it's 20 people to a Airbnb. So we definitely hit up on the medical emergencies, and we also hit a lot of rip current identification. We do a lot of flagging of our rip currents. We do a lot of preventive detection and education of people on the beach. So everybody's well versed in our rip currents. This isn't like we just showed up and it's skeleton crew and everyone gets out of mid-June and now our regular crews are coming through. These are people that have been working here consistently throughout the year, in multiple years to decades, so they're well versed at it.
Yeah, and that must come to great benefit, having the luxury of having guards on the beach year round. So, because even for myself, I'll be going in my 10th summer. There is still that first couple weeks of the summer where you're like kind of relearning a little bit before you get back into the groove of things when you're working a seasonal beach.
Yes.
So I would imagine even like a 3-year guard on your beach would have experience comparable to maybe a 5 or a 6-year guard up here.
Definitely. And we have several beaches with big reef systems that come right up on the beach. They act similar to jetties. One of these big reef heads actually at Ocean Reef Park on the south side has a rip on the south side, a rip on the north side, and they converge, and they can be 50 to 100 yards wide, and where they converge can be 200 to 400 yards off the beach.
That's awesome.
And on top, you have the sandbar with the prevailing surf, a wind chop that's kind of disorganized. And again, it's, hey, we're going to go ride the waves. Let's go.
Yeah. Hey,
John. Yes, doctor.
No, so I got to, I wanted to ask you this before I forget it. We got these, we had one not too long ago. It was wild. A kid did heroin and he OD'd in the water. But now with all these sudden deaths and, and also all of this, people, down in Fort Lauderdale, I was talking to Jerry where not this spring break, but the last, well, not spring break yet, but last spring break, you had some West Point cadets that were doing cocaine. It was tinted with fentanyl. And
Yes.
so I'm wondering now, you guys are worried about, like, say you get called down on the beach and this young guy, he's unconscious. And, if they did some cocaine with some fentanyl, how dangerous it is for us to touch them. And then also, what about, we let kids go out in the shipping lane sometimes. I mean, if they're young, they're healthy. But now I'm worried
Right.
about, if you see some old guy with a scar from his, belly button up to his neck, he just had a cardiac surgery, you're not letting him out. But now I'm like starting to second guess myself about young kids. So what's down there? What are you guys starting to see? And are you doing anything preventative and any advice for us like up here? Because, I don't know. We can't let, you got to let these people swim. And then do you have Narcan on the beach? And should we be, and how do you approach somebody who might be OD'd on fentanyl? And, should you touch them? Should you breathe for them? And
Right. So first I want to identify what you just said. These were students from West Point. This is the of the crop
I know.
of its selection. They go on to serve their country. And these are clean cut, well groomed, good hygiene.
Not anymore.
And they're not your dirtbag coming from the Dead Show. And they're not the vagrant. But as we've seen, and I've experienced this, it's very, very sad what we've seen in the fire service. We're seeing beautiful families wrecked by fentanyl heroin. And it's on the beaches, it's in the bathrooms, it's in the parking lots, it's across the street from the park, it's on the pier, it's on the boardwalk. And so we just teach everybody that it's universal precautions, body substance isolation, definitely be suspicious, have that situational awareness, head on a swivel, and you're a detective. What is in that needle? What is in that spoon? Oh, there's a baggie right there. We're not going to operate near that. We're not going to touch it because it's been proven. Look at what happened in Ocean County in 2000. What was that? 17. Two officers just rolling
Yeah.
up a baggie, both go into cardiac arrest.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fentanyl exposure. So we're teaching our people, don't touch that. Prophylactic protection. We have Narcan. We use the atomizers. It's the Narcan that goes through the nasal mucosa, and it's a 4 milligram squirt.
Right. 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 Right.
So we're utilizing that. We're doing a lot of training on that, a lot of advanced airway control. But the key with the heroin user and the fentanyl user, if you use too much Narcan and they might come out swinging because they're upset you ruined their high. So we've seen that a lot. I mean, I've been on calls where I get punched in the side of the face because of the guys angry that we ruined their high, not realizing they were breathing
Yeah.
3 times per minute. So
Yeah.
definitely bag valve mask, airway adjuncts like OPAs, NPAs. We're looking at eye gels right now, which is a great blind intubation to control the airway. And it's supportive care once we get them, once we get that Narcan on board and they are in control of their own airway. And of course, being in South Florida, we have fire stations everywhere. We're very strategic with our fire department placement. And everybody is a firefighter, EMT, paramedic. And the majority of our lifeguards are ocean rescue EMTs, paramedics, firefighter, lifeguard, paramedics, and critical care nurses.
Yeah, well, what I'm worried about too is, I would never. If I get called down on the beach and there's a young kid that's unconscious, I'm not thinking cardiac. I'm thinking
Right,
OD.
right.
But now I'm starting to wonder now. Because I don't know why these kids are. Why people are sudden death and sudden cardiac arrhythmias. So that's another thing. I mean, are you guys like now maybe more going down routinely with an AED if there's a young person? Say you get a call, young person is unconscious. You wouldn't think about bringing an AED down here, but now I think probably should every time we go down there, get it going, and then just to make sure. So I don't know. I just throwing it out at you.
Oh, we have ATVs and club cars at our beaches, and they carry the full gamut: advanced airway, trauma, medical. We're carrying oral glucose. We have the EpiPens on board as well. BGL, AccuCheck, the BGL monitors for blood glucose levels, and we are armed with standing orders.
Came ready
So
to go.
standing orders. We have a medical director, Dr. Steve Keene, who's a longtime colleague and friend. He was my medical director at West Palm Beach Fire Department. And we work very closely with fire rescue as well. Due to the proximity of our fire stations, we could be bringing a patient out of the water and the fire department's already walking out on the beach.
Wow.
We could be administering that Narcan and getting the AED or defibrillator pads on the patient, and the rigs are pulling up in the parking lot. We're looking at a 3 to 5 minute response time, which is advantageous for us as a community.
How many AED? So your beach patrol? I don't know. What are you, a mile long? How long is your beach patrol? I mean, my question is, how many AEDs do you have?
So we have 14 parks, 15 parks. Every park has an AED. Some have two. Every lifeguard tower has multiple O2 airway bags, trauma bags, all set up, ready to rock and roll. And we don't sit in the open towers like we did in the old days. We have big wooden observation towers with tinted windows and sliding glass windows, and we're very protected from the elements. Big decks with walk around porches and railings, and at the base of each one is all of our rescue equipment. That includes our rescue boards, fins, buoys, can buoys, and then our ATVs, our vehicles. So it's 3 to 4 people per beach working that park. And that park can be a 200 to 300 yard park that goes all the way back to the street. and then it goes out into the ocean. Roughly about 100 yards is where we set our guarded area buoys, our buoys.
Wow, that's big. Yeah, that's good.
And we go from the Broward County line all the way north to Martin County, which is 50 some miles.
John, you mentioned in the material you sent us this morning a little bit about your leadership style, and two things that really stood out to me were OLT, Ocean Lifeguard Tough, and pride and ownership. How do those terms present themselves through your style of leadership?
So obviously, learning from Skip and Harry and Mark Boudreau and Jim McCarthy and Shoemaker, Bo Ormster, and all the old guys, Joey Taylor, the old Vintner guys, the Wildwood Crest guys, the Cape May guys, the North Jersey guys. It's all about pride. You worked out on your break. You dragged your tower down. You were friends with everybody between your jetties. You knew everybody. You had jetty wars where you would steal each other's flags. And that's a big part of it. Your uniform, your apparatus, the type of vehicles that you have and how clean they are and how fit you are as a team and as an organization. There's several fire chiefs. Chief Lasky's one of the big ones, and Chief John Norman from FDNY. Those guys always preach the pride and ownership. You are the tool for the community, and be the best that you can be at all times, and be fit and be hydrated and be educated. And that's a big part of it, as well as leading from the front. Years ago, about 20 years ago, I saw an old FDNY officer going into a fire, and on the back of his helmet was written, "Follow me." And I wrote that on the back of my fire helmet. And a couple of veterans were like, "That's great, brother. That's awesome. We like that." And, I started picking and choosing. Like when I went to college and I wanted to be a college professor, I picked things that I liked from certain professors, and things I didn't like, I wouldn't do. And I think that's the same in leadership. It's dynamic, it's continuous, and it's changing. It's ever changing, because look at the new young adults we have coming up. It's a different type of learner. And that's a big part of what we're seeing in the fire service and in the EMS world, in the military, and in ocean rescue. Telling that person to sit out in the rainstorm in the open tower with that umbrella and watch those swimmers, they're going to ask you, why? Why should I do that? Well, because I told you to. Well, that doesn't work nowadays. And I think understanding your people, understanding society, being in touch with social media, obviously, is really going to make you a better leader, because you're going to be able to tap into people and attract people to come follow you.
I'll tell you what, you must be the best guest we've ever had, because you just answered about 5 questions I had in the barrel with your one answer.
Awesome.
So when we have guests on the show, we do as much research as we can. So I did a little scroll through your Facebook, and 2 quotes that stood out to me were the first 2 you had listed, and I think they really kind of apply to what you just said about finding the balance between being a tough leader, but also being gentle and gracious with the way you deliver. The first quote, let me just see if I can find it real quick. Okay, the first quote says, "Be aware, danger is near," from Samuel Clemens.
Yes.
And it's directly followed by, which gave me a good giggle, "Yes, dear, man to wife." Now, that's a pretty funny dichotomy, you can call it, of 2 quotes, but it actually made me pause for a second and think about someone in your line of work, in our line of work, and how that really could apply to leadership, and also to the ability to get home at the end of a tough day on the beach or on a fire call and shut it off and enjoy your time with your family.
Yes. Very important to find that balance. I came back from right to know training. I was late 20s, captain of ocean rescue for Palm Beach County, rookie firefighter in my town. And they taught us about all the products that were around, the byproducts of diesel exhaust, the vibrations of the apparatus, the loud noises, and what that does to your body. And I remember coming home to the station, because we didn't have cell phones. We were just starting cell phones. And I'm like, "Honey, I'm retiring at 50. This is great. I'm going to go back to the beach patrol full time because we don't live long after retirement. And one of those things is finding that balance so that you can live long into your retirement. And the cancer initiative in the fire service has gotten huge now. I used to be that smoked out fire captain or chief officer with the dirty helmet and the dirty gear and kid, I got the mustache breathing in the fire. Well, that big burly fireman ends up being the 108-pound cancer victim going through hospice not long after retiring, or maybe not even making that. And the same goes for ocean rescue. We're in the sun. I've sustained so many burns, having stuff burned off my body. I had major squamous cell carcinoma in my lip and on my mouth. I mean, I'm Irish. I should have lifeguarded in ye old Foggy Bottom.
Hey, you can tell I'm Irish too. Just look at the beard.
Yeah. Also look at how we overtrain sometimes physically and how we sustain injuries from that. And not only that, but look what happens when a surf boat breaks away in the shore break.
Mm-hmm.
People get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to find that balance of, hey, I'm going to work out today. I'm going to take it easy today. Hey, you know what? I'm not going to the bar with everybody after work. I'm going to go hit the gym with the wife and go see our daughter's last part of swim practice or soccer. And we're going to have a nice dinner at home, and having that ability to shut it off, right? Because, phone rings, social media is calling, and it's a bit overwhelming.
Yeah,
It really.
Yeah. Well, you make, you want to follow up on one thing that you said before, which is interesting. Back in when we started, it was mostly men, few women. Now most of the beach trolls, a lot of beach trolls, is 50%, almost 50% women, which is, and they're great. I mean, they really add a whole dimension to the beach troll. But as you well know, we had 2 deaths, not this summer, last summer. 2 lifeguards died while on duty. And that brought to the forefront the potential for a dangerous job. And a lot of our lifeguards are 16, 17, under 18. I don't know how it is down where you are, but I don't know. How much on a beach troll? Almost half sometimes is under 18. What do you think?
Yeah, probably under.
What would you say, guys? I'm trying to think right now. Yeah,
I would say half is under 18.
So now we have this dynamic where we have a 16-year-old kid. Now, they may have gone through the lifeguard, junior lifeguarding program, but maybe not. But we have to babysit them. They're immature. You can't put them in harm's way. I mean, if it's a big ocean day, you're going to make them swim. So it becomes a real issue. One of the things that we do now is that if we have a lightning strike somewhere, we close the beach. We get the people out of water, and then those lifeguards are off the beach. And then the supervisors get in trucks, and we drive around. But you make a good point. It's a wholly different thing. With the sun, everybody has an umbrella. We have tons of breaks. We make sure we have suntan lotion for these kids. And they're real good. The young kids now, these guys, they put all the different color zincs on. On 4th of July, it's red, white, and blue. And I don't even yell at them. Sometimes they look like idiots. They got the... remember when we had the white stuff on our nose? You get our, but we have bucket hats, and so we really encourage that. But you make a good point. The lifeguarding has changed tremendously with regard to safety, not only for the patrons, I call them the patients, but our lifeguards. And so, I don't know what's your average age. Do you have a lot of young kids on your beach patrol, or no? Yes, not as much.
Not as much, no. I would say we do. Our average age is probably in the mid-30s.
Can you lighten him up a little bit? Oh, really? So you're lucky.
And we have lifeguards that are pushing into their 60s and into their... I'm 56. And one of my best friends from Ship Bottom in Hollywood, he works for Palm Beach County too. He's 56. And he has 4 years left before he retires.
Yeah. Well, we're seasonal, so it's hard to get, because if you're full-time, those guys could get full-time. We have a real hard time, getting the what do you call it, the full-time, part-time. And we can't fill our beach patrols, so, but that's great. Yeah.
Please. Well, that's something else I did want to talk about was the recruitment and the retention. So right now we're 20 positions short on our beach patrol, and we are going into the 3rd day of our hiring process. We have 6 to 7 full-time positions, and we're going to have 8 to 11 part-time positions. And hopefully these part-timers that work for us are going to get these full-time slots. it's been slim pickings the
Yep.
last 4 years. And it's not only here in America, Australia, South Africa, France, Spain, England, they've been reaching out and themselves are having a problem with recruiting
Well,
and with retention.
Right. Well, John, we don't allow our kids to have the cell phones on the stands.
Right.
Okay. Now some beaches do, but you're not allowed to use them. If you look at the New Jersey regs, it says specifically you can't be distracted, and one of the things that they point out as a distraction is a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
So now, these kids, they go into withdrawal. I mean, think about they have to sit on.
I don't know if it's the cell phones is why people aren't coming back.
No, but I'm just saying that's
John, what do you think the reason is we can't keep people on the beach?
I think it doesn't pay enough across the board.
Yep.
Very, very difficult. I'll tell you, I've been in this since '85. I've been a valet parker, professional lifeguard, firefighter, paramedic, EMT, lifeguard, EMT, long before I was a firefighter, paramedic, valet parking Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights, delivering pizzas during, March Madness or college football times and NFL football times to make ends meet, to be able to afford that surf trip with a new surfboard,
Yeah.
be able to pay the rent, the mortgage, the car payment. And it's very, very difficult to raise a family on a lifeguard salary.
Yeah.
What do you think can be done? How do we get municipalities to see what we're worth? Because if you ask me, and I might be going out on a limb by saying this, but
we could bleep you out.
Nobody wants to come to a beach where people are drowning left and right.
Yep.
So
following the California model, got to look to the West Coast, San Diego, LA, all the way up into San Francisco. Those ocean rescue agencies, those beach patrols, are now having that minimum standard of certified waterman, ocean rescue certification, the USLA certification, EMT being a minimum requirement, encouraging paramedic, encouraging rope rescue, helicopter operations, and becoming a part of the fire department. That has been a huge, huge plus for those agencies. We're doing it now in Florida. The high risk initiative makes it so that you are receiving more money. You're under the umbrella of fire rescue or law enforcement, and you have a better salary. You have STEP programs. You have better healthcare benefits. And that, say you come on the beach making $40,000 a year. Your second step is going to be in 2 years, you're making $44,000. Your third step is $48,000. By you're in your fourth or fifth step, you're in the mid 50s, maybe even going into $60,000, and you get certification pay. So you're a rescue swimmer, you're getting $50 a paycheck. You're an EMT or a paramedic, you're getting $100 to $150 a paycheck. The boat operator, you're getting money for that, whatever that certification is, or even a lead worker, say like we have Step Up Lieutenant. Step Up Lieutenant's going to make 10% extra for that day or 6% extra. And those are the little feathers in your cap professionally throughout your career as your career develops. And it pays. And it's nice to have all those things, but it's really nice to have money in the bank, isn't it?
Yeah, plus a pension if you get a pension.
yeah,
See,
who
Atlantic City has a pension.
your lawyer friend we spoke to with the USLA, what was his name?
John Moore.
John Moore, a lawyer who does he represent the USLA or he advises them?
He advises them. He's been he wrote.
He spoke with us last year and he mentioned trying to push through some sort of legislation that would have lifeguards
Just recognized as first responders in New Jersey.
Recognized as first responders.
Right. See, the problem.
How important do you think that would be?
Well, the state of Florida, with Governor Ron DeSantis, gave 2 first responder bonus checks to all police officers, firefighters, EMS personnel, and ocean lifeguards. First check. The second check was $1,300. That's that recognition. I've gone before the Florida Retirement System Board. to speak on behalf of the United States Life Saving Association. A whole bunch of people have come in. We've gone up to Tallahassee, which is our state capital, multiple times, always pleading our case. And when you plead your case, you have to use examples. And we use examples like David Thorne, Ocean Lifeguard, that has had hundreds of visits to a dermatologist and basically had to leave lifeguarding because of age and because of skin damage.
Yeah.
Jim McCarthy, Marine Safety Officer Lieutenant for Hollywood, the same thing. Guys die from cancer, girls die from cancer from being out on the beach for 40 plus years. That's impossible to do. And like I said before, Turtle DiMarino, he's closing in. Tom Lutz closing in on 4 years left in their career. Can they make it? Can your body physically hold up to that daily grind? And I think having that high risk initiative and having your state administrators and lawmakers understand that grind and what we go through will help it so that you can retire at 50 years old.
Do you think they don't understand the grind because, and this is actually a really good point Sean brought up when we were working together at the pool earlier. Do you think it has just something to do with the way lifeguarding has been depicted in whatever, popular media, Baywatch, whatever you want to call it?
Yes. Well, my nickname, I graciously accepted this at age 18, was Spicoli.
Nice.
Yeah.
Big college swimmer. I got the big nose. I had hair down to here. Now I'm growing dreadlocks. Yeah. And I looked like Spicoli, but I was educated and I was serious. And I was a serious young man about this profession that I've loved since I was 8-9 years old, with watching the old watermen, do that at Fort Lauderdale and Hollywood and Delray and Deerfield and Boca. And I think a big part of that culture is kind of going away, because now we are seeing fire departments take us over. And, you don't have the pothead mentality, or we're going to the bar after work, or like in Jersey, hey, last lunch break guy brings back the melon balls, or, the vodka and orange juice. Those days are gone. And I think that people are holding lifeguards more accountable. And a big part of that, too, is the cell phone. People are recording and posting on social media, and they're seeing the lifeguard jump out of the tower, and the 30-foot boat has rolled over in the surf, and there's 25 immigrants swimming ashore. Those aren't regular citizens that just came down on your beach. Those are people that just came from another country. Yeah. And we're in that stepping down process of COVID, but everyone is still very aware of infectious diseases, right? We just had a situation where
Oh no.
morning, 7 to 8:30, we have a mandatory workout, and they saw a vessel full throttle coming into the beach. So they thought, oh, medical emergency, something happened. Well, the boat turns real fast, comes right up next to the beach, and 30 people jump off and run past the lifeguards, make a full-on sprint for A1A.
That's great. Yeah.
So with that, too, what are we looking at? Any medical emergencies there? I'm going to be treating these people and what they have, where they've been, what their healthcare standard is. So that being said, we're integrating a little more into the law enforcement. We're integrating a little more into fire rescue, because we're witnesses and we're a part of these incidents. And a lot of times we're the first responder.
And that's I think a really important point you just made is we are the first one there. Any kind of situation we're arriving at, we are the very first one there in 90% of circumstances.
Yeah. So
yes.
On our beach, we have police, but not all the time. They come certain times. So we do have now on weekends saturated police, which is good. But problem with us, we don't have a full time. We have a fire department, but it's volunteer. So we'd have to go under the police department. But what's interesting is what happens is we're seasonal. See, that's another thing too. You guys, I can only imagine. We do 3 months, 4 months, and it's brutal. I can't wait. I mean, in the beginning, I can't wait to get there, and at the end, I can't wait to get out of the sun.
I can't be off this damn beach.
No, right. And then I can't imagine you guys. It's every day, the whole year. And so the amount of sun and the stress, I mean, because I can tell you right, by the end of the summer, we're done. We're toasted. And we work, Seaside Heights, where we are, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we get 30, 40,000 people on a weekend. So I
I've been
understand. Yeah, we've been there. So I understand that. And it's interesting. But we also have our own problems that it takes us, a good 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks to gear up and get everything ready. And then once we close down, the towns, we're forgotten. We're dissolved. And so we have it's a really interesting issue here. I think we both have problems that are very similar. We can't get lifeguards. They don't want to pay. But then, we got the young kids. So what's happening in our beach patrols, we're having very, very young and very, very old. I'm 65. We got Dr. Discus. He's 75. I mean, everybody's old. And then we have the young kids. And thank God we have, like Sean.
You got me and Sean.
And, these two guys, and we can't, we're begging them, and
just hanging out in the in-between.
Just sending sounds into the internet trying to talk to people.
But without these guys who have brains, we're lucky. We have some good kids that love our beach patrol, and but I think what Tyler's was asking is that what's going to change? Is do we need to like Chip Bruce, who runs Ivy Beach State Park, they just got $18.50 for rookies. And they also have 14, I think they protocoled out for 14 junior lifeguards to pay them $15 an hour to come in and train. Right. So that's a good trend right there. So I'm hoping that, this is a state park and that'll be sustained, and that the powers be are going to see this, that, they're going to try to bring it. But I don't know what else to do. I mean, we are having a hard time. But
it's funny when I think about it, because when I was 19 and I decided, this is something I want to do. I have a house in Seaside Heights. It's, I wasn't like the guy that grew up being like the water rat. I grew up in Jackson, New Jersey, in the middle of the woods. But I decided to do it, and then when I thought about doing it, I was like, oh, there's no way I'm not gonna start at $20 an hour. Look at this job. And then I get the offer. We'll start you at $8.75. It's good pay. And I'm like, what?
John,
but the longer you're in it, you forget about that. And I feel like that gets taken advantage of a little bit. We all love this job, from the rookie to the captain to the chief. Everybody involved would do it for free.
Yes. But we got to live, though. We have, I think when I first started, I got $23 a day. I think I started in '77. I'm trying to think, and but then again, too, things were a little cheaper. But you're right. It's difficult, and I don't know where it's going to go, because we have a hard time, getting kids and getting to stay to the end of the summer, and that's another issue. We're trying to go into the season longer because the weather now is staying warmer. We're getting into September. We could lifeguard until October. I mean, some of the days are nice and we get big crowds coming down, but we just can't get anybody, and then we get tired of doing it, so we're shorthanded and things of that nature. So I don't know what the answer is.
John, how was the response from the municipalities when you talked to them about fairer wages?
So when we're looking at budgets and we're looking at line items for equipment, that is a big selling point. But I feel that, we have the standard of care. We have the standard of how many lifeguards we're going to have on our beaches and what their minimum requirements are going to be. And we have this really cool setup with all these rescue crafts and vehicles on the beach. But that doesn't mean anything if you don't attract quality people.
Yeah.
It sounds like higher standards can help increase higher pay.
Yes. And if we come back to these municipalities, and a lot of them have been very receptive, because no one wants to have a lawsuit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you start looking at the legality of not staffing your beaches, closing beaches because you don't have personnel. We have an island here that's called Peanut Island that the county has put lots of money into, and it is a blue water bay where we live. That's where I fished all day today. And looking back on that beach, I'm in the inlet fishing, and there must have been 2,000 people on that island throughout that 10, 12-hour period today, and not one lifeguard. But I have 4 beautiful lifeguard towers with brand new P2P rescue boards in them. We got a lifeguard office. We have a boat that we ferry our lifeguards to and from. but we're so short staffed, I can't even staff that island. And it's sad. It's very, very sad. Because if you look at Peanut Island and you look at any type of marketing for Palm Beach County, you will see Peanut Island on there. It's a gorgeous tropical setting. And we're trying to attract that. But you can't attract that quality person when you're paying $19 an hour and you're trying to live in Palm Beach County, Florida, which is a very, very expensive place to live. You know, it's a resort destination type of tourist attraction. And of course, with elderly and seniors as they retire, they look to the warmer weather, and look at what's happening with real estate right now. You know, we got a guy here, Danny Lanahan, that has 4 or 5 lifeguards living in his house because that's the only way the lifeguards can afford to live here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is sad because it's like the only way to, because it's all of our dream to do this full time without anything else to worry about, right? And to just come to the realization that, like, unless you go out to California or you go to Australia, the only way to make that happen is like you have to go achieve some extreme form of financial freedom where you just can afford to go do that. You know?
Well, I get one, John. So to stay in New Jersey, this is we talk about pay and everything. So we've been paying our lifeguards overtime over 40 hours. Okay, this law came in. There's a federal law that says it's a paper. It's a opinion paper by the Labor Department saying that lifeguards are not seasonal or are seasonal, which is kind of stupid if you think about like Florida and things like that. But anyway. Right. But then state of New Jersey says no, they're not seasonal, and they carved it out in the labor laws. And this is about 6-7 years ago. And you have to pay lifeguards overtime after 40 hours. We were doing it in Seaside Heights for a long time. A lot of beaches weren't, and they just after these 2 kids who got killed, they had these investigations, and they had I think 54 beach patrols that were investigated and cited. And I know it's in public knowledge. It was in the news that several beaches in South Jersey had to pay back $400,000 plus in back pay, and I suspect now in the spring it's gonna happen again. They're gonna probably go after these towns and say you got to pay back. But here's what's happening now. Think about this. So now you're a town and you're required by law. It's been put in your face now that you have to pay out over 40 hours, time and a half over 40 hours. So what I think a lot of beach trolls may do is say, well, okay. Well, I don't want anybody working over 40 hours.
Yeah, we're all being understaffed.
Now, what's that?
We're going to shut the beach down.
Right. And
they're going to save money.
Right. So now we have, and then so the other thing is, I could, and we try not to do this. I mean, we don't do this, but I mean, think about the beach trolls where, okay, you have these 2 guys who are senior guards, and they hit 40 hours, and then on a weekend, if you don't do it right, then I got 4 or 5 rookies that I'm dealing with, or 16, 17-year-old kids. Because they didn't hit that 40 hour, and then so it becomes a real hassle, and a lot of beaches are doing that now, seeing that they got hit with this, potential, the reality of the law. So we have that in the state of New Jersey too. I don't know how that's going to play out, but do you guys just have 40 hours like you have your crew? Do they get time and a half? Like how does it work down? Or is everybody on salary or?
Yeah, so we have first of all, we're a union. Membership. Wow. And I would really like to see us be a United States Life Saving Association union, kind of like what we have in the fire service. We have the International Association of Firefighters. I think with the numbers, you get more oomph, more bang for your buck, and it's more industry focused.
Right.
For us, we belong to the Communication Workers of America, CWA. As an administrator, I cannot be a member of that anymore. But I am alumni from IAFF and alumni from CWA, and strong believer in union because we get the benefits that we need, and we can argue our point, and we can be educated about our point because we can hire attorneys, we can hire lobbyists, we can hire research people to run pay comparisons, to look at what contracts other agencies are having. So we are a 40-hour work week, 4 10-hour days. From 7:30 to 8:30 is your morning workout. You have 30 minutes to get your stuff together, and then you set up your beach, and you run a break rotation, and you're allowed to go lift weights. You can go eat your lunch. You just can't leave the park. You can paddle out and do rough water training. You can row. You can surf ski. run, swim, run, whatever you want. You just have to be within that environment. And that's a 7:30 to 5:30 day. Per the union contract, we have an actual matrix of how we issue out our overtime. And it is a giant list that I am constantly juggling. I'm constantly rotating that with our administrative staff. We have like a law that we have to follow on how we issue out that overtime and offer that overtime. So everyone's given an equal opportunity to take that overtime. Not only the overtime, but let's say I'm off tomorrow. I get a phone call earlier in the day today. Hey, you want overtime tomorrow? Yes, I'll take the overtime. I'll be there at 7:30. But instead of monetary value, I choose comp time. So instead of it being time and a half of money, it's 15 hours going to a comp time bank. I can go to Ocean City, Maryland for 3 weeks and not use one vacation day. I used all
Oh, okay.
Rica, not use any vacation time.
Gotcha.
I time.
Oh,
So that's
that's smart.
we also end up with 3 to 4 weeks of paid vacation accrual each year.
Wow.
Each lifeguard given 60 some hours of time each year. And we're in the FRS, so we're in the Florida retirement system, which also has an investment benefit package. So we're looking at deferred compensation, non-aggressive growth investments, and we have classes on that so people can be educated on how to spend money. Like we talked about, we didn't get into lifeguarding to be rich, right?
Mm.
But if we're educated, we can carve some of that money out and we can build a nice future for ourselves.
Well, John, with the union, could like New Jersey lifeguards join that union, or is that like how does that all work? Like, how come we don't have that other states and
Right. I think you'd have to look at your local statutes and maybe even talk to like your facility guys, your utility guys, the guys that do the snow plows and cut the grass and, find out what their union is. If you're looking more towards law enforcement, look at your police unions because you don't have a career fire department there, which I'm really shocked.
some some counties do. Up North Jersey they do. But like Tom's River, like Seaside,
Right.
where it's a volunteer, but they get subsidized. I mean, but the police are obviously paid. So probably Belmar, I think Belmar is under the police department. I don't know if you guys know.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were. I'm pretty sure they are.
But one of the things you also have to realize, so if I'm in the union, I have to pay to be in the union. And that money comes out of my paycheck. So if I'm already ramen noodles every night,
Yeah,
got my money for Friday night to go have a few beers with the boys,
yeah.
how am I able to pay that $35 a paycheck or $50 a paycheck type of
Yeah.
situation?
Gotcha. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
It really is, but I think it can all be handled honestly by increasing the base salary. If we're starting people at, and this is what I would like to see in Palm Beach, we're at $20 an hour right now. I would really like to see us go to $25 an hour with that full benefit package that we have. We have tuition reimbursement. You go to EMT school, you pay for it on your own, you successfully pass, we reimburse you, we being the county. And now you get that $100 or $75 or $150 a paycheck EMT certification pay. That adds up and that makes it worthwhile. And now I'll get that guy that's graduating from college and has done 4 or 5 summers at Cape May and wants to come down here and take it to the next level.
Wow.
And that,
yeah.
hey, I'm going to work here 30 years, 35 years, and I'm going to retire at 50.
Do you find yourself dealing with a lot of lifeguards that come from up here? That after you said 3 or 4 summers and they want to shoot down to Florida?
Not that often. We just got a couple guys that just came down from Nags Head, Duck Beach, and we got Mark Conti's coming down from Jersey, just tried out, and we've got a couple like Timmy Corbett just came down from Wildwood, and we've got Florides just trying out right now. I just had a bunch of lifeguards from Ocean City, Maryland. They were blown away by our lifeguard towers, taking videos, all that. None of them showed up for the test because
Hey, John, would you take a retired doctor? I think
all day,
I'll
all
come
day.
down. I don't know how much I'd have to have the handicap going. I still swim. But I'll come. Hey, listen, that's it, man. I'll retire down there.
We'll launch you in a wheelchair, like how we launched the jet ski. We'll shove you down the ramp until you hit the water line.
Hey, John, I make you look good. I'm 65. You say, look at this. I'm still a young guy. Now, it is funny because a lot of we're getting the older guys. They beg us to stay. I mean, they need us because we have that knowledge. I supervise. I send this guy's out. I send that guy out. But
A part of that too, Doctor, goes back to that leadership, being compassionate and empathetic, and buying into your young people. My God, I had so many guys that, man, you got a nickname, Spicoli. That's awesome. and it was really, really neat that I had these older guys that supported me. And you make mistakes and they pick you up, dust you off, and get back in the game type of thing. And people want to feel like they belong. I think, Facebook, social media, you can be in touch with so many different people all over the world. But you can also never be so alone because you're home alone in your own living room doing this.
Yeah.
John, I want to touch on something you just said about kind of the camaraderie and the nicknames. Again, I do this a lot. I reference discussions Sean and I had sitting the stand at the pool in the show a lot because I feel like we do a lot of like exploring when we're sitting there just staring at the water. But today we were talking about how it is good to like have that arm around you, but at the same time, like when you're dealing with the extreme situations that you can see as a lifeguard, you kind of need to be pushed to a certain point so you can understand what that is. You and you don't, and it's almost like you don't get the nickname until you've done the rite of passage. And for me, I can think of a moment. It was my rookie year. This was 2014. June. It was like early June. I was the first rookie on the beach that year. I was 19 years old, so everyone else was in high school. I was like, dicking around in between high school and college and didn't know what I was doing. And we were doing submersion drills. So we had this yellow submersion dummy. They named it something stupid like Fred. And they're like, oh, you know Fred? And I'm like, who's Fred? Oh, you'll meet Fred today. So they take Fred out past the break and they drop him, 10, 15 feet under this 50-degree water. And I'm just diving down, trying to get it and coming up and barely catching my breath because the second I get to the bottom, my lungs are like constricting up. I'm getting to the top. They're stirring up the water with the jet ski, so I can't even like see to the bottom. They're all laughing at me, pointing at me, saying, you better find that thing. But we finally found it. And when we found it, like I said, I felt like I had passed some sort of rite of passage. I had earned that respect. I had proven that, like, I'm not just going to quit just because I can't find it on the first try. And I think that's something that I'm scared that we might lose.
Yeah, we had one of our studs. He's a Jersey guy, PA guy, Philly boy. He's got the family thing going on, and now the ex-wife is back up in Philly with the kids, and he's down here, national competitor, trying to make ends meet, and he gave in and walked away from a great career here and moved back to Philly. And it took one horrible Philly winter, climbing through attics, doing, heating and air conditioning work and plumbing work and whatever he could scrape together, to make him realize that he'd already been in that rite of passage. And he's one of those guys that sets that rite of passage standard. And he missed the team. And he came back. And he's back on the beach full time. He's working for Deerfield, a great agency. And he's working part time for us. And he knows his place. He knows that this is where he belongs because he made that rite of passage. And it was lifetime worthy for him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that. And I think a lot of people, they don't have that desire to find that lifetime passage and prove to themselves that they can do this. it's a lot easier to sit on your couch and be on your phone.
And you know what's crazy, because I'm thinking about this, and I've trained whatever 100 rookies in the past 10 years, and every single time where it's almost like you let the training wheels off and you see them have that moment for themselves, it's almost like that same kind of point of pride,
Right.
And
Yep.
I think that's like the dragon we're chasing, because it's half like, this is the coolest job in the world, I'm out here saving people, I'm exercising all day, but it's also half that, like, like getting it. This kid
Yes.
gets it now. That's what they
Yes.
used to say to me. They were like, "You'll know when you get it." And I'm
Right.
What does that mean? What does that mean? And then I got it, and I knew. And then I felt I get to say that to kids now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've made your rite a passage, and it's multiple passages.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just any moment. And you're in that passage now where you're the senior guy training people. You're the mentor. You're the guy that these young kids look up to,
Mm-hmm.
But I also think it goes back to where our society is today. We're soft. I think we're soft. The gridiron mindset of, it's raining, it's muddy, let's go tackle each other. I think those days are few and far between. But Bobby Holton, retired FDNY chief, he challenges people to look deeper into that millennial. He says, they're not all the fat kids with the pink hair sitting at home with the phone. There are fighter pilots, there are airline pilots, there are Navy SEALs, Green Berets, Deltas, there are cops and firemen, and there are lifeguards.
And what I do think about that sometimes is that, and if today's society leaves those people that you're pointing out right now a little more empathetic and sensitive towards certain things, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. But sorry to cut you off.
No. Well, when I tell these guys, when I first started, we worked 7 days a week in Seaside Heights. There was no days off.
When we started too, we had that. We still were there.
This guy acts like we never worked.
Well,
7 days
that
a
was
week.
you weren't mandatory. Yeah, but
Yeah, it was heavily suggested.
And no more with the overtime. And then we had a half-hour lunch, and you're right. We sat out there. It rained, but there was people in the water. What I try to do is, with the kids that we have today, I understand that they're younger and they're maybe 16, 17 is a big difference between 20 and 21. But I also, when things get going, I get on the radio with these guys, and they need to know. They get pissed off at me. I'll go down the shore and I tell them, I say, how many times do I got to tell you, keep those freaking people in? They get pissy with me. I'm very sure when I walk away, and they know. But I also, when the shit's hitting the fan,
isn't that you saying that to him
yeah,
all the time?
He gets pissed off. I give him a bone every once in a while. I tell him he does something. But the thing is too, when it's really stressful there, and we have thousands of people in the water. I'll say some, anecdotal funny things on the radio. So it is good. I think that you need that mix. I think you need the old time school, but we also, you and I, come from the old time. We can't be beating them up anymore. I mean, it can't be that, mentality. Right. But you don't want to go all the way and capitulate to this, woke, not working out. These kids, I tell you what, we got a great crew. I don't have to, most of our kids are very athletic, and we train hard. And we're on top of it. I mean, I don't think anytime anybody misses anything, we get tired though, because it's a long day, and we get an inner city crowd on the weekend, and we have a lot of people who don't speak English. I'm very sure you have the same thing, and about 30%, 40% of our people go in the water with clothes on now. I don't know if you noticed that. I pull people out look dressed like you with a collared shirt, shorts. No speak English, drunk on their ass or stoned out of their mind. Yep. It's true though. These guys are like looking at me. So I try to laugh at it. I don't get mad at them. We laugh, right?
John,
so,
you
got a question.
What were you gonna say?
I think that's a part of it. You can't get mad at them. They're coming to the beach to have a good time.
No, I don't get I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just the educational factor. That's it. Just educating people.
Yeah,
and Sean, I'll let you get to it, but I just want to point one thing out. When I said before, like talking to people, like just like you said, just understand that these people, they don't know shit. They're just trying to have a good day. Don't take it personally. It's not about them like not liking you. They just don't know the rules.
Just because it's your 100th person yelling at, it's their first time getting yelled at.
Yeah. They don't even understand English anyway. So let me ask you this, John. I wanted to change a little bit because we wrote this. Do you have a lot of issues with the red tide down there? That
No,
red algae.
we did several years ago,
Oh,
but we corrected that with exposure protection, with masks, with respirators, with cartridges and filters. We've done the mask fit test. We actually do it annually. People come in and do our mask fit test, but it's more so on the west coast of Florida.
okay, that's why I wanted to ask you. I wasn't sure. So, what was the other thing you wanted to go on a second?
Well, I mean, Sean had a.
Yeah, John, you said
Okay.
before while we were talking about rookies and younger guards that before you could yell at them and they would do it, and now they would ask you why. What do you say when like someone's curious or obstinate?
So to me, everything is a teachable moment. No one knows everything. We didn't just we weren't born as great ocean lifeguards and watermen and waterwomen. We learned, and that's one of those teachable moments. Instead of, going down and saying, "Hey, man, I told you 18 times to get those kids out of that rip current. Don't let people swim in that rip current." Instead, it's, "Hey, guys, we're going to flag this off. That's one of our rips right there." Or, "Hey, little Johnny, the rookie, show me where our rip currents are today." "Hey, great job, man, but we missed this one right over here. Let's go look at that rip current." We're going to walk down in front of it, maybe even swim out through it, swim across it, and then we're going to red flag that. So I'm not really holding their hand. None of our lieutenants are holding people's hands or our training officers, but we're building that skill set. And it's toolboxes, right? I got tools in my toolbox. And I really think that if we're pointing things out, showing them cause and effect, and teaching them why and telling them why we're doing things, they get a better understanding of it.
Yeah, like you should definitely one tool should be being firm with them, but one you said like telling them good job, like positive reinforcement definitely helps.
Yes, yes. And if they still don't get it, swim through that rip current 10 times, then you'll get it.
Oh yeah.
I'm always like one of the things I really love to dig into people with is the way they lead, because I'm a coach. I obviously I train the younger guards. I'm like the head counselor at our junior lifeguard program, and so I'm always analyzing, how people lead, whether it's the coach of Manchester United or the captain of another beach patrol. And I'm just really impressed with your really deep understanding of the balance between the need as a leader and as just someone in these positions to be kind of macho, like a strong, manly figure, but also to be empathetic and to be gentle. And I feel like when you're thinking about, what has become known as this woke bullshit where masculinity gets attacked, it's the wrong idea of masculinity. Because you strike me as someone, you got a flower tattooed on your forearm here, but like you strike me as someone who understands that being masculine does mean like conceding sometimes. It does mean admitting that you can be emotional, understanding that in a high pressure situation, understanding that we're men and we do get emotional, but being able to check that. That's the macho thing, not having emotions. When you listen to these guys like Andrew Tate that are just like, I tell my woman what to do. Like, well, no, like, like we all have feelings, and being a man is understanding that and having control of that, in my opinion. And I see that you get that as well.
Yeah, being yelled at and screamed at as an athlete, having your face mask grabbed by your coach, getting kicked in the butt when you're trying to get down to do a push-up and you weren't fast enough. People shut down on that. And that boot camp mentality, that's a whole psychological strategy, and that's a mental matrix. It's angry drill instructor in your face, breaking you down, and then rebuilding you and propping you back up. We're not that way in ocean rescue because we don't have sleepovers. We don't all sleep in a dorm. You're there for only so long each day, and then you're back in your own world. And people come with their own baggage, and people come with their own history. And that's one of the great things I had as a captain before me. He said, "Hey, man, you're a new guy on the job, but if you see something I don't, point it out to me. If you see I'm about to do something stupid, stop me, because we're all one bad decision, one bad move away from having a bad day or a bad life, a bad situation." So I think empowering people to bring their life experiences to the team is a good thing, but also they have to understand where they fit on the team. Uh,
Give it.
at at West Palm Beach Fire Department, we have a thing called New Boy and New Girl, and it was a badge of honor. And when I became a chief officer, I was the new boy chief, and I could be in that room with other chiefs, and if the phone rang, I got it. Coffee needed to be made, I made it, because that's just where I knew where I fit in on the team. I'm a utility player, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know unless it's pointed out to you.
Yeah.
You don't.
Do you guys have a junior lifeguard program down there, or
Yeah.
any beaches?
We actually had to stop our junior lifeguard programs due to funding and the fact that we couldn't staff
Couldn't staff
with
it. Yeah.
instructors. We're on the beach working.
That's
It's something our outgoing chief, Julia, she would like to see it on there. We have a lot of competition from other surf camps and other kid camps. And hopefully, if I become the chief, knock on wood, when Julia retires, that is something I would like to see us bring back. And I know a lot of my crew would like to see it come back as well. But then again, it always comes back to staffing, right?
right. Well, so we have what, 70? How many? What did we have last year?
This year we had over 100 kids.
100 kids. But again, it's stressing our system out because
Right.
you know, we started after July 4th. It goes from 9 until 12. Those lifeguards are not, you know, they're being tied up, and it becomes a real issue.
We've had situations where like we've been like, parents, watch the kids. We got to go do this rescue real quick. You know, we had to help out because the whole beach is mobilized.
Yeah, it's becoming
Right.
becoming an issue. We don't have enough people, so yeah. That's why I was so happy with Chip Bruce, because Chip, you know, Chip commented. He said, "Nice show, guys." You know, they're paying their rookies. I mean, their junior lifeguards. Actually, the state of New Jersey's paying. Can you imagine that? You know, that's so great, and that's a great place to get good. That's what I was just asking. You know, that's another way. You know, we think about how we're going to get people to come on our beach patrol. We have some great lifeguards who were junior lifeguards. I mean, how many right now are ex-junior? I mean, were junior lifeguards?
Three?
About three. That's
Great.
and they're good.
There's
And they're
been at least, like, I've worked with at least 10 around my time.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I just thought I'd
So-
throw it out there. Yeah.
One of the things when I was sitting around with the head shed and we were kind of pondering how we're going to get this recruitment thing going and what do we need to do? It's got to be something a little more than pay. And, you know, one of the ideas that we came up with, we need to reinitiate the junior lifeguard program at Ocean Rescue. We need to do it at the pools. We need to filter these kids, these young kids, 14, 15, 16, 17, getting them working at a pool. They're certified, they're getting time under their belt. And then when they turn 18, they can try out for Ocean Rescue. And it's all the same entity. So, hey, this is a Palm Beach County employee
It's a
that
great
works
idea.
at the pool. Now they're coming out for the Ocean Rescue. They get a little couple bonus points for that. Plus, they're going to be well versed in how we do things in Palm Beach County Ocean Rescue because they've spent time with us. They've been through our junior lifeguard program. But we gotta get staffing levels up first before we can initiate that.
Well, who's that up in Seagirt?
Tim Harmon.
Tim Harmon, who's he's Tim's up here. You know, he runs the USLA, and he's got a strong program. And they have an unbelievable program up at Seagirt, and Monmouth County. Really professional. Yeah, and so yeah, I was just wondering if you guys had that.
And there's a lot of
Say that again, John. You lost you.
there's a lot of money up there.
Yeah.
North,
yeah.
they've got some deep pockets due to the the tax basis and the congestion.
The funny thing is, we get pushback on pay, but we don't get pushback on equipment. That's one thing that most of we got 2 jet skis, they're brand new. We have 4 ARDDs. We got, we're pretty good. We got a lot of equipment. We actually even have a Seabob that costs about $20,000.
Can you see me rolling my eyes over here?
Yeah, you got to do it. A Seabob, and same thing with Monmouth. They get more money to shake a stick out, but for some reason, they when it comes to salaries, they like, these beaches that have $4 or $5 million houses on the beach, they got more money than they know what to do with. But when it comes to lifeguarding, there's just this mentality that, there's a bunch of idiots and we don't need them, until, like you said, they get a lawsuit. A couple of these beaches had people drowned when no lifeguards were on duty, in September.
Right.
And so now there's lawsuits coming up, and they're trying to struggle on how to get coverage.
I will. I will. Now that you mentioned September guarding, I know I said before that like a 3-year guard down there has about as much experience as a 5 or 6 year up here. I don't know if you can count guards up here that have worked a full September, because that is just a whole nother level of lifeguarding.
Yeah,
that is something insane.
It is. Skeleton crew, man.
And big ocean.
Big Long Beach and only 4 guys.
Yep, and only one quad to get all 4 of you down to where it's happening.
And we do a lot of mutual, and what happens with us, we do a lot of mutual aid. So we'll go down to Seaside Park or up north, and then, thank God we got the fire department backing us up too. But, and Timmy down there in Monmouth, they actually have a whole thing when lifeguards get off the beach, they actually have a on-call schedule where they'll call the lifeguards to come in and help with the fire department. And
Wow.
Yeah,
they'll keep a can in their truck or something.
Yeah, and they have a whole system, and they worked it out. I think it's volunteer, but still they'll do it, And there's a lot of times where the boat will, ship one of the boats will come aground or whatever. And thank God too, we have a lot of surfers who save a lot of people. But it's an interesting. Did you want to ask him about the last thing here with his? The last thing on the page there, I thought maybe you want to ask.
Again, information I picked up from your Facebook. What exactly did you study in college?
Ah.
English literature.
Same. Awesome.
I would never have guessed that. I would never have guessed. That's. I don't even.
Yes,
English literature.
Finally, somebody.
Think about it. Hey, it's like the ski patrol thing. I could go teach school all year round, have my summers lifeguard.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
And specifically Native American literature?
Oh, yeah. I did study Native American and African slave literature as well. Yeah. At Florida Atlantic University. Great university.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
About 2 miles each.
Oh, yeah. We have a buddy that goes there. Where's he work, Sean?
I don't know, a bar, but near FAU.
Yeah, he works at a really like bougie bar, like celebrities go there or something. I don't know if you would know.
So he's making in one night what a lifeguard makes in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So he is work.
Yeah.
And again, this goes back to the whole, I feel that we're being taken advantage of a little bit, because he comes back here every summer. Just because he wants to sit on that stand.
Yeah, and you make a good point. We got guys who work part-time. We got a lot of part-time guys because they can't make ends meet, and they'll deliver stuff, but they want to come back. They love it so much. We got guys who will leave the beach and then go bar back, right, all night. Take couple hours sleep.
I was one of those guys.
Yeah, and but they, John Boyd, who I work for Junie and John Boyd, those guys, and I remember John used to say, once you get the sand between your toes, it's never, it's there. And Joe Casino and I, who, I'm a physician, Joe is, a very successful businessman, and we say to ourselves, man, if we could have made, a little bit more money, we would have done this. That would have been our job. In fact, when I go away somewhere and people ask me what I do, a lot of times you just tell them I'm a lifeguard.
I have a hard time believing that.
I do. No,
All the times a day I hear Dr. Michael Kachmar.
No, but I just go. No. I mean, when and I tell you, the other thing too is that, and you could, all the places I've been in the world, and in this country, and when I, down in British Virgin Islands, I worked there for 10 years doing vascular surgery, and I became very good friends with the lifeguards there. But anywhere I go in the world, you start talking about lifeguarding, bang, that's it. You are a brother. You're in. Yeah, and then they see if you're bullshitting. And once you start talking about the stories, and only a lifeguard would know, that's it.
Right.
I don't speak the language.
Yeah. It definitely,
When we're looking at the quality of people that we've had in the past in our industry, it seems to be a stepping stone for a lot of lifeguards here to go into fire rescue. And 8 out of 10 ocean lifeguards that goes into fire rescue attains a high rank within their agency. Lieutenant, captain, battalion chief, chief officer.
Oh. Come on back.
Fire rescue. And one of the main reasons why they went in the first place was the base pay. Yeah, there's adventure, there's brotherhood, sisterhood, but that pay is the big oomph to get them off the beach and working at the fire department. Mm-hmm. And eventually, they all go back to lifeguarding.
Yeah.
you say that a lot of lifeguards end up in those positions of I don't want to say authority, but the higher positions. How much of that would you attribute to the preparation they received by being a lifeguard?
It's individual experience. But for a lot of people that I know of, it was just, hey, it's another rite of passage. Oh, you want me to swim out? Oh, you want me to run out off the pier and jump off and get those guys in 8 to 12-foot surf? Watch this. Hold my beer. Right? Hey, I can do this. I think it's the OLT, the macho. And we talked about women in ocean lifeguarding. Our women are alpha, man.
Yeah.
Just like the fire department. They belong to the badass bitch club, and I would go anywhere with a single woman that I work with.
Yeah.
And got a great squad here in Palm Beach County. Everyone's encouraging each other, and we've got a really good crew of water women, mermaids.
Yeah.
And they too segue into fire rescue. Some of them do.
Yeah, we got a guy now who worked back in the '90s, and he became an attorney in town, and he's a good friend of mine. He was actually my lawyer, and he came back. Now this guy is surfing all the time, all winter long. So now he's working. He's 55 years old, right? He sits the wood. He doesn't want to be an officer. We offered him. He's like, no way, I don't want, And he gets out there and he rides to our surf boats, the Van Dynes, and he stands up on the back like Junie Boyd used to do, and like on his break, when these guys are sitting up here having pizza, at their 12 o'clock break or 3 o'clock break, he goes out and does a buoy swim. And this summer the water was cold for a really long time. And I went in and I hated it. It was like 57, 58. I mean, I'll deal with sick, but anyway, he'd go in like, oh, it's nothing. Because he did it all winter long. What he do, a wetsuit. But that really, inspired a lot of these kids. Not only that, to be tougher on the beach, but also a lot of our people, because it's part time, they'll migrate into very high end jobs. They get out of here. I mean, the beach patrol teaches you a lot about discipline, about being tough, and how to deal with stress. So from that standpoint too, it's a great job. And even if you don't stay in it, like see down where you are, you guys have more ability to do it full time, and especially like in California. But I tell you, but a lot of people come back. Now he's coming back. I think if he had his way, he would forget about law, teaching
Lawyering.
law.
Well, then
right,
you'd
you
be
tell
out
me.
a lawyer.
Well, listen, I work 7 days a week in the summer. I work every minute. I don't work on the, operating, whatever. I'm on the beach, So, and Jocko, that's his name, we call him. He just loves it. I remember when he first worked, he worked out for like 3 hours and he goes, I can't believe I'm getting paid for this. He's so happy.
Yeah. It's that lifestyle too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys our age that are bald and fat and, testosterone issues and cardiac issues and, pre-diabetic. Man, if you're out on the water and you're working out with younger people too, which also influences you to work out, and you bring your day with you. You've got your gallon jug of water, you've got a Gatorade for your lunch with your salad, you're eating cleaner. Hey, when you're out hitting your territory and you're hitting sales and you're on the highway, McDonald's, Burger King, those are your choices.
Yeah.
And they're not healthy choices, even though we do love our McDonald's and our Burger King ones.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not going to lie. It's become a bit of a tradition of mine to stop at the McDonald's on the way home after we record these episodes.
Because it's so late, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
Well, it was, I tell you what, it was a great show. And I know we wanted to, it's an hour and a half went by. Time flies. You're a great interview. It was really great. We have Scott's given us. We have another comment here. We have Scott, love you. We have comments here. I don't know if you can see the.
So Chip Bruce, who's he's the captain over at Island Beach State Park. You ever been there during your time at Ship?
You want to show him the comment?
So he says, "Nice show, guys. Good stuff. Lots of great points as always." And then Scott Ruddle, who's a friend of ours. Kach, we don't need to add it to the broadcast.
Okay.
Scott Ruddle, who's a friend of ours, who guards. He's part of the Grand Bend Beach Patrol up at Lake Erie, Lake Huron.
Lake Huron.
Lake Huron. He says, "Love when you get other lifeguards on. Thanks to John for a great talk."
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Hey, we appreciate you for reaching out.
Yeah, John, you were real and you were informative. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, let's get you back on to talk about some English lit. Maybe we can just do a Tyler and Captain John episode.
So yeah, we'll really appreciate it, and so we ready. I think we had a great time. It was really good. And anything else you want to add?
John, you got that thing we had you write down before?
Hang on, let me get a little music here. Hang on before we go here.
Before I say that, come to South Florida, take your lifeguard to the next level. Come be pro down here. We want you guys on the team. I'm constantly recruiting. All you young college kids, you graduate, or young high school kids, we got great colleges down here. You get on full time somewhere, there's tuition reimbursement that'll help pay for college.
That's great.
And it's a great life. Come join us and take it to the next level. Yeah, I'm ready to go, and I got my whistle here as well.
I love the sales pitch.
All right. All right. So give us our sign out.
All right, everybody, stay out and stay alive.
Hey.
All right, man.
All
John,
right, John.
Thank you.
great. Thank you very much, man. Take care. Stay safe. All right.
Be safe.
Bye-bye.